Industry travel analysts just named Ghana one of only 10 worldwide best bet destinations for the year 2026. The barrier to entry is dropping. With new daily flights out of Atlanta, getting there is easier than ever. But there is a massive gap between the pristine beaches and exuberant festivals you see on social media and the on-the-ground reality of navigating West Africa. If you show up treating Ghana like a passive, monolithic resort destination where you can just wing it, you will hit a wall of exhaustion and frustration. Look at this map. The country breaks down into 3 distinctly different geographical and cultural zones: Greater Accra, the Central Coast, and the Northern region. To secure the cultural payoff this country actually offers, you have to definitively match your specific travel style to the correct region. Before you even pick a region, you have to clear the administrative baseline. That means securing your online visa and getting a required yellow fever vaccine well before your departure date. You also need to aim for the right travel window. The dry season, from December to March, is optimal. It features over 100 cultural events kicking off in December alone. However, that timing introduces a specific climate challenge. You will be traveling during the Saharan Harmattan winds. This chart shows the dramatic temperature variance those winds create. You can experience 48 degrees at night and 95 degrees by day, which completely changes how you need to pack. Behaviorally, the rules are rigid. Dress conservatively, especially outside the capital, and use your right hand for everything from eating to greeting. Using your left hand is considered rude. These logistical and behavioral rules are the required price of entry. Respecting them is how you secure genuine access to the culture. Let's evaluate your first option, Greater Accra. This southeastern coastal capital is the epicenter of the country's modern energy, commerce, and nightlife. You feel that density immediately in places like Makola Market. The vendors, colors, and street preachers stretch on infinitely, creating an overwhelming, immersive sensory environment. That deep immersion extends to the food. You'll wash your hands in communal bowls and eat fermented, cassava-based fufu and spicy stews entirely by hand. Accra is also the hub for massive December heritage events like Afrofuture, drawing global crowds to experience Ghana's fusion hip-life music scene. But here is the primary trade-off. The traffic is paralyzing. If you try to build a daily itinerary with 4 or 5 stops across the city, you will fail. Transit takes heavy time buffers. Anchoring your trip in Accra gives you total access to high-energy urban culture, but demands an incredibly high tolerance for sensory chaos and patience in transit. If you move west from the capital, you hit the Central Coast. This is the absolute center of Ghana's heritage tourism. It is dominated by Elmina and Cape Coast castles, which are vital UNESCO World Heritage Sites. These imposing stone forts serve as a stark physical record of the transatlantic slave trade, where tens of thousands of enslaved Africans were held before forced migration to the Americas. Visiting these sites carries a heavy emotional toll. It requires time to process, which naturally dictates the pacing of your entire travel day. Alongside that somber history, the Central region vibrantly preserves royal artisan traditions. In nearby villages like Adanwomase, you can watch skilled artisans actively weaving intricate, geometrically patterned kente cloth on wooden looms. Choosing the coast means ensuring you have the emotional bandwidth to process profound ancestral history while engaging with actively preserved local culture. Your third option pushes past the coast entirely, moving deep into the central and northern regions for wilderness and historical exploration. The physical adventure scales up quickly here. At Kakum National Park, you navigate narrow suspension bridges slung nearly 100 feet above the rainforest floor. Pushing further into Mole National Park during the dry season offers unscripted wildlife access, where African forest elephants and leopards gather around natural water sources. Let's use this decision tree to build your specific blueprint. We start with your primary travel goal and map it directly to a region. If you are an event-driven experientialist looking for high-energy nightlife and festivals, anchor your trip strictly in Greater Accra. If you are a heritage and culture optimizer, build your itinerary around the Central Coast, prioritizing the UNESCO castles and kente weaving villages. And if you're an eco-adventurer, push past the capital and dedicate your days to remote northern parks and historic mosques. Choose one lane. Attempting to force all 3 of these profiles into a standard 7 to 10 day vacation is the fastest route to burnout. In 1957, Ghana became the first African nation to gain independence from colonial rule. It carries deep historical weight. A successful trip here requires you to abandon Western defaults. You have to actively lean into the local customs and expect logistical hurdles. Do not fight the friction. Adapting to the rhythm of the country is the only way to actually experience the vibrant soul of West Africa.